It was whatever, it was Saturday, October 16th. I was working my usual shift in the emergency department. It was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I was wearing my flight suit because I was the flight doc that day. And it was Allison's first day off in about 13 days. And so she was just going to hang out around the house and clean up. And 12:30 or so, I actually called Allie and said, "Hey, I'm hungry." And she said, "You want me to bring you food?" And I said, "Yeah." And she didn't complain about it. And I saw her at like 2:30, she came in. And I still remember exactly what she was wearing. Brought me the food and I gave her a hug and said, "I love you. See you when I get home tonight." I think it was about 5, right around 5 o'clock. And all of a sudden just I get toned out. My radio went off. And we have a hospital transfer from Anderson Mercy. And I was excited. I love to fly. And my attending told me, she said it's a female cyclist. She's in her 20s. She's a head injury. Went outside and it was a beautiful day. It was a really, really nice day. And we were flying to the Anderson Mercy. And we flew, I know all the roads in Cincinnati. I just do. Because I've ridden on them so much. And we actually flew over the accident scene. Looked down and I saw a car and police cars and landed at Anderson Mercy and went in, got out of the helicopter and went in to the emergency department room and looked at the patient first and kind of got just a global assessment of the patient. I looked at the vital signs on the monitor, and they were concerning for increased pressure in her head. Then I looked at kind of briefly at the patient's head, and she was intubated and had some obvious facial trauma. She had a breathing tube in and had facial trauma. Then looked down at the rest of her body, and as I was looking down at the rest of her body, I saw the team uniform that we wear. And it was Team Hungry Cycling Kit. And I was like, there's only 2 girls on the team. And as I was looking back up to the head, I just remember it was, don't let it be Allie. And I looked down and looked at the face, and it was Allie. And I put my head, on the back of my head, I said, "That's my wife." And then the room just got silent. And everyone stepped back. I said, "What?" I said, "That's my wife." And I just walked out of the room. I can't even describe the feelings. And my flight nurse, who was with me on air care, got on her phone and called air care dispatch. Said, "This is my doctor's wife. Dispatch the second helicopter now." And I hated that I was on that flight at first. I hated being there because I knew that Allison needed to go to the hospital and she needed to go now. And I knew that I couldn't transport her. And I was just like, what can I do? And I was crying. I was really, really, really crying a lot. But I was like, what can I do to give her the best shot? What can we do? And I told my nurse, I said, if we start 3% sailing. The nurse, and I didn't hear this, but the nurse told my sisters, we don't know if she's going to make it. And it seemed like an eternity that air care was taking to get there. So we loaded Allison into the helicopter, and again, the helicopter was still running. They didn't shut it down. The emergency department had prepared. They had already called neurosurgery, who was already downstairs. They had cleared the CAT scanner. The first night was kind of a marathon for her. She had a broken jaw in several places. She had pulmonary contusions or bruising on her lungs. She had a broken sternum. She had a bruised heart. She had a broken collarbone. She broke 6 bones in her neck. People would tell me, she's going to be okay. She's a fighter. She's going to be okay. And I knew she was a fighter. But I also knew the medical aspect that, if you can be injured to the point that it doesn't matter how strong you are. I wouldn't leave the hospital. I wouldn't leave Allison. And every morning, we would pray. I would pray with Allison. And we'd pray with our family. And then every night, before I left Allison, they started making me go home. The last thing I would do is I would pray with Allison. She fought incredibly hard. But there was also another component we can't explain. She got amazing medical care. She was in phenomenal physical shape. But even still, the number of injuries she had, and as bad as her head injury was, she shouldn't have done as well as she did. So even though like she was awake and she looked awake, she wasn't there. She was delirious and kind of in and out. We'd had plans to go for a Halloween party. Is Alice for her and me being the Mad Hatter. And so Alison couldn't go to Halloween, obviously. So I brought Halloween to her. And that just happens to be her first memory, is me dressed like the Mad Hatter. It was, whatever, Saturday, October.
The first day I knew that anything was Halloween, I saw Tim in a costume and our niece in a costume was there.
You know, the smallest progresses and the smallest steps you're ecstatic about. One day I brought her a soup because that was all she could eat because of her jaw being wired shut. And she just picked up the bowl of soup with her left arm and started using her right hand almost like normal to spoon soup into her mouth. It was just like, my God. And it was like when, if you can imagine like a kid walking for the first time. When she finally did go to Drake Hospital, I moved into Drake with her. They knew at Drake that visiting hours didn't apply. I literally stayed at Drake every single night. I stayed there with her. When we would get up in the morning at Drake, and I would work with her on her speech therapy documents that she was supposed to do. I would work with her on, first it was teaching her how to, put her socks back on. She couldn't do that at first.
Nice job. You want to try the other foot?
I always knew she was intense, and I always knew she was driven. She had to be to win a marathon and do what she's done professionally. But she is absolutely dogged and stubborn and relentless. We're almost 6 weeks after surgery. And again, she's rewriting the rules as far as what can be done. Those knees out. Her and I go to the gym every other day for physical therapy. Just try and stretch that rubber band in your knees. I mean, she's gotten profoundly stronger. She's normal.
I do either the bike or the elliptical for now 20 minutes now. I was starting at 10 minutes.
I just kind of realized, how strong-minded she is. Now we've gotten to the point where we're adding weight on.
And there are balance things that we do that I am better at now. Like doing lunges. I had to hold Tim's arm because I couldn't stay the balance. I was weak. And now I can do it without him.
And I'm just there. But I really don't have to intervene at all anymore. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I try not to push her too much because I am still her husband. I'm not, trying to balance that role of, coach or caretaker and husband. When she first came home, when she would walk around the house, we were right there walking with her. When she was walking up and down the stairs, she wasn't allowed to do it alone. And as she's gotten better, it's kind of like you're a parent giving your kid freedom.
I always knew that Tim loved me, but I think he showed it over these past few weeks. Being the husband and being the physician and being all those things, he did it perfectly. Without him, everything would have been different.
And we're a team. What she went through, I went through, and I wouldn't leave her. She has a lot of work to go and a lot of recovery still to do to get back to work. We're gonna get her back. She's gonna be back doing what she loves, being a pediatrician.
I can just say that I'm meant to be here. God came in every situation to make my life possible. I definitely could have died that first day and several times along the way, and he kept me here for a reason. And I'm gonna be strong.